Hello,
Yeah,
everybody. Welcome to the third episode of the Crypto Archives podcast. Today, we have with us pristine schizo poster and DeFi savant Halko500k. So, welcome,
hello,
sir.
hello.
Nice to have you on.
Pleased to be here. Pleased to be here.
Yeah, and I thought we could just get straight into questions. So, can
Let's
you
go.
introduce yourself and mention how you got into crypto, and also maybe talk about your background?
Of course. Yeah. You know me as Halko, so I may have been professionally shitposting on Twitter for some time, but what can I say? I've been in DeFi like full time since 2021. During this small DeFi top, a lot of people make this choice to, abandon the regular life and go to DeFi full time, which was quite a challenging one. But it was crazy, but I think it was worth it. But for crypto, I mean, it's very interesting question because I don't really know for how long I have been here because I literally remember sitting on image boards in like 2011 and people were saying about mining Bitcoin.
Mm,
And I remember that it was summer and I was trying to write my college thesis. And I had like huge, like, I had like old computer because, well, things happen and the computer I used to have was slightly outdated and I was trying to run the Bitcoin miner on it because people told me that you can, mine a few dollars worth of Bitcoin every day. Unfortunately, my computer wasn't really suited to run the miners, so it didn't really work out. But then the year was, I recall, it was like 2013, and I managed to get a better machine. And it was quite crazy because I was studying finance basically with like some finance with some like analysis, econometrics, all that pseudoscience that finance people pretend it's science. It's not. Anyway,
yeah.
I recall that me and my friend, we had to write some kind of like a paper for econometrics, just to like take some asset, right, analyze the data serious, try to find something. It was, I would say, everyone knows that it had a huge margin of error, and I recall that back then it was like, I think the first Bitcoin bubble has been pumping. I think you say it was 2013. So
2013.
we thought, hey, you know what? Let's write about Bitcoin. And then during our Bitcoin research, I realized that someone has forked Bitcoin and started mining Dogecoin. It was literally the first week of like Dogecoin's existence, and I basically installed a miner for Dogecoin on my computer and started mining this, which was a pretty cool thing. Unfortunately, I lost my keys. So,
Unfortunate. Wow.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty funny because I still have a wallet, but it got corrupted. So
Uh,
if you'd like to take your chance at like, getting access to, I don't know, like over 100,000 BTC, like ping me because I know that many people try to crack this.
mm,
No one really managed, so you are free to try. And yeah, and then it was like off and on, off and on. And I recall uh, that given I was graduated finance, worked for like finance firms. In one of like firms I used to work, we had the quant and models department, and one of the guys who was kind of like quant models software developer, he was he was American and he was like 300% Bitcoiner. That
wow.
those people that are like
Maxi.
gone, Maxi, but you don't see those people anymore, right? On Twitter, like I think they like kind of like, or maybe they just all banned me anyway, or blocked me, but you don't see those anymore. However, uh, the guy back then he was a true Maxi. He on every like scrum he would say, let's build something with Bitcoin. Let's build services to price Bitcoin. Let's build services to price Bitcoin derivatives. He said, look guys, Bitcoin is the future. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. We need to create infrastructure for the Bitcoin. And he was kind of like, I think he was like going in a correct direction, and he basically introduced us to like Ethereum, to smart contracts and everything, which caught a lot of our attention. Funny enough, in 2000, when it was in 2000, it was 17, 18, I don't remember when was that, but when the Bitcoin spiked again, I think it was like January 18, I think he announced that he is leaving his current job to pursue other interests. I believe he just was outlandishly rich, and,
Yeah.
and I think he's literally kind of like running his own hobby company where he's like doing data science on his own schedule, and hopefully he's still doing good and like mining Bitcoin and having a good time. Like shout outs if you know who you are, if you like listening to this, shout outs to to you, man. And yeah, so a lot of kind of like our developers got interested about ins and outs of smart contracts and everything, because they were all finance developers. So for us, blockchain really looked like a very interesting solution to a lot of like legacy problems that finance has, and I can go for hours, blah 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 blah. But anyway, uh, that's how it started. Then fast forward, I had like very very busy and heavy years where literally I haven't been paying too much attention because of like other priorities. And when DeFi summer started, and I was like, oh wait, I think this is something I was waiting for, because finally we have the actual financial utility for Ethereum. This is something I was like looking for some years. That looks great because um, because I can also share the anecdote. But I need to think how much I can tell because of, Anyway, in my job, we literally were receiving requests from clients every few weeks and months at around, it was like, 2019, 2021, where the financial institutions were exploring Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDT or USDC as actual solutions for their problems, because, for example, they operated on more emerging markets. In emerging markets, wiring money is a huge problem. So they were thinking, hey, instead of like, wiring money to LATAM or to Asia or to Africa, where there's like, lots of bureaucracy, it's expensive, you are really like waiting weeks for money to come. Can we suggest, for example, that we will structure this way, that we'll literally just transfer the money out, for cross-border transfers using USDC or USDT. And I think that was pretty interesting, pretty wild. Literally, there were some African markets back then, which were under so many government controls. If you were trying to price kind of like that country's currency, you had to find the most liquid market. The most liquid markets usually for that countries were local crypto exchanges, because these were like the only unregulated markets. So it's like 2024, and everyone thinks, if you are like a first worlder, that cryptos are like casinos right now, Solana meme coins or whatever. But that's true if you are only exposed to that. If you go beyond that, then cryptos have really been, I don't want to like like use some big words, but I would really say they may have unlocked a lot of like very basic financial freedom for like many people in the world. And and there's like huge statement, could be overstatement for many, but if you happen to live in a country that has a lot of like internal regulations when it comes to wiring money. If you have some kind of like family abroad that's like wiring money, you are trying to, I don't know, happen to live under softcore authoritarianism, then most likely you are much safer and you are much better off using blockchains to keep your wealth or to move your wealth, because hey, it's very good. It's pretty good, and I think it may have been quite revolutionary. Of course, with this, huge power, responsibilities come. So unfortunately, I guess that many people may have also been exposed to the darker side of DeFi, which is, unfortunately, the part of the parcel. But yeah, I mean, something for something. Is it better? Is it worse? I mean, it would be good, I think, to like go on a field study. But I think what's pretty cool, like this year's DEF CON, right? That's like happening like 2 months from now in Thailand. It's literally centered about this, which means, how do you allow for more financial freedom with on-chain solutions. So hopefully we will hear more about this, because even like personally, I'm like very curious where that all is going. So yeah, so it's kind of like huge intro and rant and story about everything, but here we
that was
are.
fantastic, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
so literally, I came from like finance, and I really have some kind of like, how to say this. I really think that this is a tool for good, and this is a tool for better, and this is allowing for many things. However, also it requires a lot of like self-restraint or responsibility, because there is a very thin line between financial freedom and financial degeneracy, and
sure.
it is what it is. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, that was a great response. A lot of stories in there. So thanks for that. I just wanted to move on and ask you. You said you got intro to Ethereum from your friend in 2013, and then you were kind of in DeFi in 2021, and then also
Yeah.
during DeFi summer. So I kind of wanted to ask you how you got into like the DeFi space, how you got more involved, and then maybe how you got into like DopeX and Jones DAO and that
Yeah.
whole ecosystem.
It's hard to say when it happened, because I would say as follows. It was COVID time, right? It was COVID time. There was not much to do other than sitting at home.
Right.
And what was pretty also cool is, given you were able to work at home, I believe many people's workstations were work computer and personal computer. Uh, which and for example, you know, whenever you are like working office hours, you have crazy days, you have more chill out days, you have like more lazy hours, you have more crazy hours, and basically speaking, in my spare time, in my free time, I was really kind of like exploring DeFi, how many things work. And I was thinking, okay, a lot of things I see here are like quite familiar concepts in DeFi. Some of those things are new, and I basically started getting more and more active across various Discords. Uh, what was pretty interesting is I was still kind of like, I was not a whale. I was more like, trying out DeFi in smaller doses. So I deeply disliked how in late 2020, when ETH pumped like crazy, lots of users have been priced out, because I don't know if you remember, during that pump, given there were like no altcoins, no nothing, it was literally only Ethereum. You had to pay like 100, 200 gwei per
Yeah.
transaction, which means making any transaction, like it was like swapping was $25, approving was $5. I mean, well, it was not great, and I remember that that's how I think the alt DeFi on Binance Smart Chain came up to be. Back then, everyone was saying that, well, Binance Smart Chain is a chain that barely validates itself and barely happens to exist. But I think that we really give to kudos to everyone from BSC and to CZ and the whole Binance team, because I don't think anyone has done more to onboard people to DeFi than them. Because I would say, even though the state of their chain as of like late 2020, early 2021 was not great, it wasn't the greatest chain, and there was a lot of critique of this chain that I believe was absolutely correct. It also served as kind of like, how do you say this, new players island, right? Where you were able, especially if you are a user of Binance, they were helping you navigate the on-chain world on their chain, which was sometimes full of forks, sometimes full of other protocols. But it was a good experience, I think, for everyone. And then in general, I want to give shout outs to Beefy, because that's where most of the people active back there were sitting. There was like a Degen hidden channel on the Beefy Discord. And back then, everyone was engaging in extreme degen plays. Oh my god, uh, It was quite hilarious, you know. There was a thing called printer that later someone forked into Tomb, and then you had all those Tomb forks. So VH was printer. They
I
had
think I remember this
forks of
actually.
everything from mainnet. There was this thing called, oh my god, what was the name? Uh, all of those algorithmic stable coins, but like, you know, speed running, they worth to zero in like 2 weeks. There was the Goose, you know, the yield farm printing money with no backing out of thin air. It was PancakeSwap, which I really, man, I PancakeSwap was great, and I'm like, honestly, it's pretty crazy how people were, you know, giving shit to the Pancake team because they were treated as a bad Binance sushi fork. Look, 4 years later, where is Pancake? Pancake is number one DEX. They are outperforming Uniswap on many metrics. Even like their fee revenue on many days is better than Uniswap. So they and Uniswap, you could say that like, you know, Uniswap is the king when it comes to new things, but when you think about the engagement and community and like daily volumes and the amount of money is being made, I think Pancake is number one, or like number one and a half, or if not, then we can all agree it's like super strong number to
Mm.
think. And they really, you know, built everything from scratch, and they have been piloting edX amazingly well. And you may say, oh well, you know, anyone can do it. Well, not true, because every other DEX, aside from, there is no other success story as powerful as Pancake. You know, Sushi didn't manage. Sushi was like big for some time, but then, you know, things happened. On every other chain, there were various DEXs that like came and go. I really think that other like DEXs that you can really mention as DEXs that managed to stand the test of time and grow a lot is Camelot, and Camelot, you know, started Arbitrum, and they are now going to the Orbit chains, and they have their own kind of like unique model. They know what they want to do, and they are incredibly great guys to work with. And there is Trader Joe, and I can say the same with Trader Joe, which means they started as a basic fork, and they said, well, we can do much better than being a fork, and they really ideating and pushing their own innovations and their own solutions, which are incredibly good. So look, if you like trying out new DEX solutions, if you haven't ever used Trader Joe, try out Trader Joe, because I feel like some people are like literally sleeping, you know, on on Trader Joe. Absolutely great guys. So you know, it was back then. Everyone was like using all those things. Then everyone moved to Polygon. Then everyone moved to Phantom. Uh, and yeah, and I was like, you know, active on many various discords on various things, and given so it was quite interesting because uh, with Dopex team, as Dopex was, you know, the options protocol, which is now known as Strike, they have been like innovating and experimenting a lot with DeFi options, which I think it was something very needed and very great. And especially after all those years, they have a amazing product
Mm.
called Clam. So if you haven't tried Clam, go to Strike and try it out. It allows you to like trade zero expiry options using basically uni like LP position to do this. It's like incredibly great, and I was like happy to help them out with many things in the early days. So I was like very lucky to be able to do this, and at the same time I also was quite lucky to do some kind of like part-time quant job for Trader Joe for like 3 months, and even though it was like November, December, January, roughly, or like maybe late October, November, early January. That was like my time with Trader Joe. It was great time, and that's why I'm, you know, once again, like say like, you know, incredible team, and try out their products because the guys are like real deal. And yeah, then fast forward, basically speaking, back then Jones guys uh, have been trying to simplify some things at at Dopex back then, because Dopex had like very cool concept, and people wanted to use this, but people also uh, were running into some small issues with complexity, and I recall that like first John's idea was to, hey, delegate your collateral to us, we will take care of strategies for you, and they basically got me there as an advisor, which was pretty cool. And then Luna crashed, music stopped, and everyone had to revisit what they want to do next. So that was like a huge tornado and storm, and once everyone thought, all right, Luna is dead, market has crashed, we are going to recover, it's gonna be all fine. Then 3AC died, then Alameda died, and FTX died, and it was basically a 1 year of continuous catastrophes, which was not great. But during this time, I know that like John's guys have been working on other advanced strategies. One of those was JGLP, which was leveraged GLP, which was a huge success. It was a great product. Unfortunately, the success was short-lived because GMX rolled out their updated V2 version that completely changed the architecture, which kind of like, with your dependency being retired,
Right.
then JGLP had some limits of growth. So with the guys, we kept looking for more opportunities. So there is like, a Aura strategy. If you are, the balancer guy, the Aura guy, there is a great product that allows you to basically auto compound your Aura into more Aura. If you're also interested in various things from the Aura ecosystem, you may be aware that there are projects allied with Aura on other chains. So there may be some Jones products coming up soon. With GMX, we have been also secretly working on upgrades to the GMX strats to kind of like, maybe revive is not the best word, but I mean to kind of like make it work under this new framework, because the previous JGLP, it's a beautiful product. And in the meantime, right, we also spent like 1 year coming up with the free LP strategies. So whether you are using Uniswap or Pancake or Camelot or any other DEX, most likely you are being soft pushed to use UniV3. UniV3 and the forks of UniV3 usually require you to do a lot of manual management. And the point is, if you have to manage your position manually, you may end up how to say this? If you are LPing on V2, were you capital efficient? No, but it was hands off, and you are happy with this. You clicked once, you left your LP there forever. You never worried about this. With V3, your yield will be probably better. Everything looks better, but at a cost of you having to manage this, right? If you are not a person that's good at managing those positions, because maybe you have no know-how, maybe you have no time, maybe you have no infrastructure. Well, maybe you just want to go to sleep, right? So that's how there was the whole kind of like subset of the free managing protocols that were running strategies. And we also thought, actually, this is something that we have a good shot of trying off, and we want to try something else than everyone was doing. After lots of work, we launched it at like late July. Right now it's 14th of September, and we have over $15 million of TVL, and it's like growing every day. So that's pretty cool, right? Because we have like for like each token pair, we have few various strategies that are offering you various trade-offs. Because the point is that like for many V3 strategies, many protocols would just say, hey, we have a strategy. But the trick is I think there's no silver bullet, right? There is no silver bullet because different people want different things. So we thought, okay, if we would try with one strategy, then some people would say, I don't like this because it's too conservative, it's too active, it goes this way, it behaves the other way, and we thought, well, if we are going to create something that tries to tick all the boxes, then no one will be happy. So can we create more strategies for each token pair? And we said, yeah, actually we can. Actually we can. We can scale it up, and that's why if you are using the LP strategies right now at at John's Tao, you can see what kind of like bias you have, what do you want to do with your LPs, and then these strats are running on the autopilot, hopefully for you. So yeah, that's it right now. So we are basically speaking. So depending on the time of the year, we are either sitting in front of our computers 24/7, trying to fix everything and build things because we are moving fast, or maybe everything works and now we are spending our days walking around and thinking what to do next. So, so yeah, that's
very
pretty
cool.
much it. Yeah.
Sounds exciting and stressful, but comes hand in hand. So I wanted to move on to your opinions about maybe the decentralized option space, given that Jones kind of started with that, and also DopeX ecosystem is trying to build that out. And then afterwards, kind of ask you, like, what are the most interesting sectors in crypto right now? Obviously, there's been a lot of evolution of the space, and we've seen a lot of different things come and go. So what are the things that are most exciting to you?
I mean, for like many, I mean, this is a very, very, very hard question because it's both easy and hard, because I would say as follows. Every single time something new drops on chain, any kind of like idea, the people are going to I'd say stress test it, maybe speculate on it, and kind of like drive it into its own conclusion very, very fast. Because if you are on blockchain, smart contracts allow you for a lot. And there are people that will try to, how to say this, overclock or like overload the system to see how much the system is able to take. So for example, when there was a DeFi, and with DeFi we were able to use your assets as collateral, you were able to trade, and you were able to unlock a lot of things you can like do on chain with no intermediaries, trade perps, trade options. But at the same time, people thought, hey, but actually we can also run yield farms and like issue empty tokens out of thin air. We can run racks, which is straight up criminal, and you should not be doing this, right? And that happens with NFTs, right? There was this kind of like discovery of like, hey, actually I can have some form of digital assets, digital art online that I can still claim ownership of. And I think that was pretty cool because it allows you for a lot of things. And it was a very, very interesting concept to even have like tested, within the functional global society. But it was also brought to the absolutely, it was also,
Played out.
Also, how to say this? Everyone was speculating on on illiquid JPEGs for 3 months. Why? Because people thought, hey, we can do this, right? No one tells us not to do this. I mean, it's unwise, it's stupid, but we can do this. So people started to do this, right? Then people went back to shitcoins. They thought, hell, actually speculating on shitcoins is the speculation in its pure form, right? There is no value behind this. There is no backing. We are not accepting anything. We are just betting on random coins, which is, something like, you go to a bar and you like betting on horses or whatever will happen. It's like stupid fun. Can we do this? Yeah. Then we had this social fight with Friendtech, which ended up horribly. But it was another experiment, can we run social media that like walled off partially? I think it's another kind of like thing with Milady, because now there is Milady Chan, to which you can only access if you have the Milady NFT, and it's also this kind of like a forum where you are able to guide out your community with certain passes that are limited, but are very easily transferable. And it's pretty cool how people are stress testing this. You can see that right now on many chains people are trying to plug in RWAs, so more real world assets, which is once again great because it gives more financial freedom to do. And I think that with this we will see more and more things happening on chain. So I would say as follows, that for every cool idea there is, there are going to be 9 ideas that are copy of this taken to some maximum, like some absurdist maximum, which I think is great because this allows to stress test the idea, and if those concepts manage to pass those stress tests, then that means that something like this can be done on chain and can be pushed further. So I'm like not a visionary, so I cannot tell you what I'm going to be excited about next,
Yeah.
because I'm kind of like more like, I do not anticipate anything. It's more like, I go on Twitter, I go here, and I hear about some people trying new things, and I'm like, oh wow, that's so cool. I'm very happy they're doing this. So yeah, one thing I'm like waiting for is for someone to actually release a good trading cards game on blockchain, because hey, we have NFTs, like legacy card games, like Magic, like Pokemon, like
Right.
others, you know, cards are expensive, even though as a company you can like print them at will. So a lot of cards are like expensive. A lot of online card games are gacha boxes. So there was Hearthstone, even like Magic has their own two online implementations, which are not great and are kind of like predatory on various ways. And I know that there have been some on-chain games, card games, but they have really never caught up. I recall that, man, how was that? There was that card game that it is a wild story. There was a card game that was like started by like Magic the Gathering pros, like really really popular players. I think who was that? Man, I don't remember. But the point is, it was pretty wild because there was a card game where like game designers were like very known Magic the Gathering people. That card game was actually sponsored by FTX and Alameda, so
Well.
SBF was basically giving out the money to incubate this. So once FTX died, they had to shut the doors, but I believe they were kind of like pivoting it towards, I think, blockchain integration. So that's a sad thing that didn't work out. I think another kind of like thing is from this section is um, with card games, you have like an incredible amount of commissions, right? A lot of art on those cards is great. Okay, you can tell, okay, some of those are like basics, but some of those things are masterpieces. And it's sometimes a shame because, someone drops a set and you have like an incredible art that you will see on some common or uncommon that will just play for 2 weeks in a draft and then never play again, which is a huge shame. So I recall that I think like the artists are like getting paid $1,000 for a commission, and then they can resell the copies or prints for some money. And I recall that that circle of artists has been very strongly against NFTs, like because I would say as follows: some circles in that space are very highly ideological, so they just said no to NFTs because of no. I guess that could have been like society's pressure, which is a huge shame because I recall that we were literally approaching some guys asking them, hey man, would you be up for listing a copy of your work on one of those places where you can mint your art as NFTs, because there are more than a few people that, for various reasons, cannot purchase from the USA because of customs, because of shipping, because of delivery, but we're like very happy to buy digital art from you directly. And they said no NFTs, which was quite a shame because literally,
Right.
so but I guess how the things will evolve, we'll see, but I think it's fair enough that some people may not like NFTs for the way how this is all highly financialized.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not like an artist, so I'm not like the graphic artist, so I cannot really say anything. I used to do some music, and I know that this is basically a hobby that if you are lucky, it pays for itself, right? But it's not really a career. So well, yeah. No, but I think it's like the thing with everything. So I guess we will see how it will go.
Awesome. Yeah, that was very well put. And I kind of wanted to transition to, I know you touched on this a little bit, but are you still bullish NFTs? And what's your opinion on them versus meme coins?
I think that's a very hard. I think that's a. It's a hard question
I'm sorry about all these
because
hard questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
because um because I I completely agree that some prices, so people asking, you know, 20, 15 ETH, 20 ETH, 25 ETH for some NFTs was absurd. So I'm quite happy that this is gone. I I really believe that, you know, art should be accessible at much cheaper. I also like everything that NFTs gives you because you have kind of like, you know, strong feel of identity. This works as some form of a flex on chain, and you know, being a holder of NFTs can help you a lot or unlock some things. So I think this is very good, and I really think if you are an artist, and most likely a lot of your customers are your digital customers, then issuing your art on chain, I think it's very good because if you are hosting digital art, I would say the chances that your digital art is going to remain on IPFS, on IPFS and verified on blockchain, I think is higher compared to hosting it no one else knows where, because when you are running, you know, the risk that one day the cloud dies, your backups die, and your digital art is gone. So even maybe for the sake of preserving the art, you know, the blockchain seems to be superior here. And I really think that it will be back. You know, I mean, the cool thing is that there is the whole, you know, Milady ecosystem where people have been spinning up a lot of stupid derivatives, and many of them were actually not that stupid, but actually quite fun. And I think this is healthy. You know, I think this is very healthy. And also give shoutouts if I can, because there is a friend of mine. I don't know if I can like you can always cut this out, but there is a friend of mine who is basically speaking a long time degen gambler. So he has been betting on MMA for years, and on those leaderboards for betters, he is, you know, basically like top tier guy globally because he's deeply autistic in his research. So he bets on all those weird things and then usually performs well. And he had like an idea that hey, he actually has got a lot of NFTs because he likes NFTs and he likes gambling. And he always wanted to run a protocol for fun, so he literally launched a protocol where you can pull together some money by purchasing the tokens. Then he uses this money for literally for like MMA betting, and then everything that is being won, he partially compounds and partially spends on buying the Milady ecosystem thing. So for now the treasury is medium size, so he's, you know, like acquiring derivatives. So I know that he bought like I think like 15 white hearts last week. Now there is going to be another week, so most likely he will buy some like cigarettes, you know, or maybe a kaki maker and others. But he's saying, oh man, you know, if we'll ever manage to go big, he wants to acquire Milady and other things. So I think this is a kind of like wild and stupid. And you know, imagine someone told you 50 years ago, there is a gentleman that likes to bet on horse races. However, he is also a philanthrope and he spends his winnings on art. And he's like, let's pull together so that he can buy more art from artists. It sounds so stupid. It sounds so
Yeah.
stupid. It's actually pretty cool. So yeah, he's literally doing this. He's like absolutely autistic, just likes betting, and he wants to spend the proceeds on NFTs. That's basically his all gist. So yeah, I don't know if you can give the shoutouts for the protocol name, but you can go to my Twitter profile. I have been retweeting him recently, so you should be able to find out who is him. So yeah, so I think, you know, I really see that there are many possibilities for this. And I also don't think that I also do not think that the price for NFTs is anyhow related to the quality, because everyone knows the cigarette packs. Cigarette packs took 2 years to mint out. They cost almost nothing. Because right now, like SIG packs are like 0.01, 0.02 ETH. They are extremely cheap. Lots of people from like Milady ecosystem, they hold dozens of cigarette packs, and the cigarette packs Twitter group chat is like one of the most unhinged group chats out there. And basically the SIG chat is very fun this way. Plus, even more people are like, well, maybe how about we gonna mint more derivatives of Milady and cigarettes? Do they do this for money? Well, absolutely not, because cigarettes themselves like conduct no financial value. Like one SIG pack is like what, like $20, $40? No, I just do this for fun, and then I think this is very, 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 very fun this way. So I really would say that having for the market to crash allows for actual like NFT communities to actually decouple from the price, which acted as some sort of a filter. So this really allowed for actual communities to appear, where people were really for the community and not that they were in the community for as long as the price was good. That's
Yeah,
quick.
that is nice. And yeah, your point about like the NFT price not really having anything to do with the quality of the NFTs. Like there's the Ether rocks, which we're selling for what,
Yeah.
like hundreds of thousands, millions, and it's like, yeah, the whole space is very strange, but yeah, yeah, very interesting.
But if a rocks I do respect, I really believe that buying an on-chain rock that does nothing,
Right.
it really sends a message. So I do respect
Yeah, for sure.
all the Ether rock holders. No,
Absolutely.
it's a huge flex. Yeah, you have to respect that, because the point is like people were buying apes for a lot of like people were like buying apes for the buys, also hoping for speculation. If like buying a rock, you were saying,
Right.
I am going to sink an obscene amount of wealth into a picture of a rock, and I'm completely aware that this is just an art performance and no one really knows what's going to happen. So, well, shout outs to Ether rocks holders. Like the guys have like gigantic balls. I mean, that's hats off to them.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, I wanted to move on to this question. You were one of the first people I saw with a Milady PFP on Twitter, and I wanted to ask you how you got into that community.
Uh-huh.
What attracted you? Yeah, I know you are
No,
very schizo-friendly, but
no, I mean, the very the actual true story is quite simple, which means, what does it start? Basically speaking, a lot of my Twitter timeline has been very adjacent to the people related with like core Emilia before even Milady existed. So basically speaking, they used to. There was a lot of like stories around them, but they have, and I think how to say this. As of now, which is the year 2024, I know that a lot of things changed. So a lot of people that I know from like 2020, 2021, they may not be with Remilia anymore, but I remember that during the COVID, you had people like Jimbo. I don't know if you know Jimbo. That was like that was your Jimbo. That was Pilki. Pilki's other name was. Jeez, man, I need to recall. That was Jimbo. There was Pilki. That was Otto Rotmund, who's running Grift Shop. Pilki was. Jeez. I don't remember what was with Pilki's old name. Basically, a Swedish guy who is still trying to build a Soma chat and has on his own website. There was the guy called Restworm. There was the guy called there was the guy behind the Yo-Yo Corporation.
Mm.
Lemur, yeah, this was Lemur, and many others. They have been like, powerful shit posters on Twitter, especially during COVID hours. They're like absolutely great when it comes to shit posting. Also, I want to apologize for everyone I missed, because the point is that usually they all have been like sharing various accounts, and all those accounts were really like art projects. So it was pretty crazy, and they have been really uh, really power posting on Twitter back then, and they have produced incredible content that was absolutely. It was some form of like art and shock content. I really think that Jimbo was the greatest posters of them all. Like the man's like 200 IQ.
Shout out Jimbo.
Yeah, shout out to Jimbo. Like incredible person. There they I'm trying to find the correct words to describe this, but everything they did was a healthy mix of online cultism, shock value, but not like cheap shock. It was a very well calculated, very kind of like artistic shock content, and everything was transgressive, but transgressive enough. It wasn't like I would say it wasn't ugly. It was very aesthetic. It was elegant, but it was also very transgressive. And given of their history, I then remember that they tried to launch a Yayo coin on Polygon, which didn't really work out. It was more of a flop because well, yeah. Uh, I think they launched in like July when markets were dead, and they didn't manage to attract enough attention, which is a shame. But they were launching a Yayo coin, but this doesn't matter because all the content they have created for Yayo coin, they wrote a white paper, 14 pages of an actual manifesto. It was not a white paper, it was like a manifesto. It was beautiful. Everything around that they did, it was incredible. I recall in early 2021, I think, I'm not sure if that was Charlotte Funk or if it was the previous account that was being operated by them under a different moniker, but one of those accounts was tweeting, uh, I cannot remember the contents of the tweet, but it was something like, it was some form of hybridization of some kind of like Chinese proverbs in that style of like,
Yeah.
wealth brings wealth. Which was kind of like bastardized, and basically the whole kind of like message was, do not trade shitcoins on other chains, trade shitcoins of ETH, like don't, if you have to spend money to make money. And I remember that like during like early 2021 they had lots of fun trading like absolute bizarrely horribly shitty dog coins on ETH. I think it was like Flocky. I think they're like all
Mm.
trading Flocky or some other dog coin. I don't know. That was like bizarre. So then it was them, and then I haven't heard from them for some time because like busy with other stuff. And then I came across a post. I don't remember when was that, where people started. I think it was Lucas. I think Lucas started to post with the Milady PFP, and some other posters popped up with a Milady PFP, and I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. And then a few weeks later, I checked the website, and I was like, wait, those Milady NFTs are by the same people I think they are. And I was like, nah, that's Familia Corporation. These are like the same people that have been basically popping up on my TL. We had some fun interactions. I happened to knew some of like lesser posters from there. And I was like, wait, so people that used to run actual online cults and used to actually deliver actual art and not a
Mm.
grift, or maybe artistic grift because for like more fun, they are making NFT. And I was like, wait, this NFT was like, I think they started minting on September and it took them 3 months and they never minted out. I was like, okay, I'm I, I'm gonna try to like getting some because this sounds very, very, very promising. And always bet on calls. Always bet on calls. And yeah, and that was the way. I was like very happy because this was the community I kind of knew. More people started to join, and then I think the rest is history. So in general, being online pays off.
Absolutely, yeah.
And for like many more I don't know if I can tell them here, but a lot of like transgressive posts you sometimes see on Twitter reposted, a lot of them originated by like old Remilia guys in like 2020, 2021. So yeah, that was like good times. But I think Jimbo was the greatest posters of them all. I
Is he
think
still around?
yeah. Let me see if he's still whether he unlocked or not. Once there was a post of Azalea Banks on Instagram where she basically posted her photo, which was overlaid with Jimbo's tweet, and millions of people saw this. Some of those thought that this was Azalea's original thought. No, Jimbo posted this like 2 years before. Let me find if Jimbo is still. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. He is. Of course he is. But he hasn't posted. No, he's posting from time to time, but he's more silently. You can find him at Yojimbo, bottom space King.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. A lot of fantastic stories. Yeah, and the whole Milady like history is insane. I mean,
Yeah.
they really are like the only big NFT project that has been doing well. I feel like since what 2022, since FTX, and then they had like the Elon Musk repost. That was absurd. I remember seeing that when he
Yeah.
posted, and I was like, oh, all the Milady bros are euphoric. But yeah, very cool.
I think that's fair. Yeah, plus many people joined the community, and I think there are like various levels of how ebb and flow. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, but it's always fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just to close out this episode, I just wanted to ask you for your thoughts on the market currently, and if you have maybe a market thesis for the next couple of months. Are you still investing, trading?
Yeah, I have invested, but the point is, I'm not a speculator. I'm more like long term. I'm very patient, so I can wait for half a year, 1 year, 2 years. I have time. So don't really ask me for short-term recommendations because I would say I'm not the greatest short-term trader. Basically, whenever there is a mania and people are buying, when the smartest thing is to buy, never short manias because you will just go bankrupt. Just go with the flow. But when not much is happening on the market, I wouldn't say I'm like a very good person. It's more like, more like if you are bullish on the ecosystem and you are patient, just do not worry about all those choppy things. That's a good time to accumulate whatever you like. If you are correct, you will be happy. If you instead will spend this time, chasing another pump, then that thing you have always been thinking about holding long term will finally grow and you'll think, oh wow, oh my god, I wasted all my money chasing some fake pumps. I could have actually invested into something and just waited. So I mean really I feel like that's what life teaches you, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, don't chase every new trend.
Yeah. Just be patient, be humble. And also everyone loses money on trades. Everyone loses money on trades. So just make sure you are, how to say this, always stay alive. Don't go bankrupt. Don't like nuke yourself to zero on leverage. Just be humble. And you cannot trade if you have no capital. Always make sure you are in here. And I think the same goes if you happen to work here, right? Instead of capital, you have social capital. So never blow up your social capital because you know that every month or two we see some spectacular fall of someone. Don't be that person, you know. But I recall that there were like kind of like words of wisdom in my previous job that like our boss told us that says, look, We want people with integrity. What does it mean that you have integrity? That means that if no one is looking and you know that no one is looking, you are still working and delivering the same way as if everyone was looking at you. It's like that makes no difference, which means don't cut corners, always be like, be fair, be humble, and have integrity. And even though some people may say, well, but this place is, a cesspool infested by grifters. Well, yes, but you can make a difference, don't be like them. And usually grifters are the loudest, but I would say that the silent majority are like fair, honest people that are here for various reasons, for work, for passions, for freedom, or for other reasons.
Very good, very good. Yeah, based words of wisdom from Halko. Absolute gold. So, thank you so much for coming on. By the way, it's been a pleasure to meet you and kind of listen to your stories
Likewise.
about the space. Hopefully, we'll have you on again at some point. If you're ever available or you want to talk about something, just let me know. And
I'd be very happy. Thank you for having me. So shout outs to everyone. Shout outs to Dijans. Shout outs to people that have been here for years or maybe are new. Remember, don't make stupid things. You have all time in the world. Just have fun.
Well, thank you and shout out to you.
Thank you.
Until next time, peace out.